How did you find that? What's your understanding of that?
It was pretty ingenious, and you give credit where credit is due. The scale of the operation is just massive. And I think that's why a lot of us, when we first heard about this, thought it was, at first I thought it was a handful went off. And then when you hear the scale, when you're seeing the reports coming in, you're thinking this must have been some type of cyber attack. They must have had some ability to cause the battery to explode. And then people are weighing in saying, no, the battery can't explode like that, whatever. I'm fortunate I know how to use my phone, let alone how it works or anything like that, right? But but to the scale of it, and so you have to give credit where credit's due, and that's where it stops. In a sense that this was an act of terrorism. This violates international humanitarian law and laws of armed conflict in multiple ways. We certainly can go into that if you want, but you also look at it and you say, what was the point? What did they think they're going to get out of this? And I think this was a punitive attack. It was meant simply to harm, to hurt, to punish. They had to have gamed this out. They knew full well that, one, they didn't know who all 4,000 of these pagers and however many hundreds of walkie-talkies were going to be held by who, in what conditions, in what settings. They had to have known that. They didn't care. They had to have known that these pagers, these walkie-talkies, were used by doctors and nurses, by social workers, by ambulance drivers, by just civil administrators, and of course by family members. And certainly the young one of several children who were killed in these attacks. I mean, the story is that the beeper went off in the house. This little girl picked it up, brought it to her dad very dutifully, right? And it exploded and killed her. They had to have known this was going to happen, and that was the purpose, and then when you take the next step, okay, so what do you think you're going to achieve from that? Do you really think that the Lebanese, particularly the Shia, who Hezbollah represents, you really think that they're just going to say, oh, well, we're too scared now, we're going to give up, it's all over, good job, Israel, you beat us? This only furthers the determination, the unity, and the anger of the Lebanese people, the people in the Middle East, and people around the world. This only further isolates Israel. So why did you do this then? Well, there's the one aspect of it that, okay, if it was part of a military campaign, the idea that you were going to have these pagers all explode and hit Hezbollah members, as well as their healthcare network, really put a dent in their communications network, and then you're immediately going to launch into a military campaign, right? So the tubes are getting, the rounds are going into the tubes, the aircraft are up in the sky, troops are about to cross the line of departure, and you press the button, all these things explode, and you're in war. And this is a great opening move to confuse your enemy, to give. That's not the way it worked. And the story is that the Israelis realized that their plot had been exposed. So use these things or lose these things. And now, of course, we're seeing they're trying to catch up with that, but they certainly weren't prepared. The IDF wasn't prepared to carry out the types of strikes you would think would be associated with an attack like this. So again, the purpose is, what was the purpose then? The purpose was punitive. It was punishment, and it was also for morale. For the members of the Israeli public who support Netanyahu, which is a pretty firm base he has. We don't see his numbers declining. In fact, the indications he's actually gaining in popularity. You're also having this cheered on by people in the West, particularly in Britain, and most especially here in the United States, where members of Congress are celebrating. And pundits in the media are exclaiming how this was the greatest counterterrorism targeted strike, only has been, and then completely lying about things. But the lies are all part of it, because was it last night or over the weekend,